Hello, dear friends. This is Carly, and I am back for another episode of I Learned. Good morning. Good morning, first of all. I can't help myself. I can't help myself, but I'm sitting here in morning time, and it's such a good morning, and I'm holding my coffee. I have to tell you, good morning. Hello, how are you? I'm very interested once again to see what this episode turns itself into. I fortunately got my homework done early. I have a whole hour before my first session this morning, and I wanted to come in here and I wanted to make an episode and talk to you and see what see what would pop out of my mouth as I channel this information for you. Um, Interesting. I've been waiting for the channeling episode, and I think this one might be it. So I've wanted to share how this information and how these stories all come to be. The first two episodes that I made, I did have notes. I had like a plan, like a game plan in my mind as far as like the points that I wanted to make and the stories that I wanted to tell to try to illustrate those points. And I put some thought into, is this outline of material good enough? And I worked on it until it was quote unquote good enough. And then I recorded the episode. And I did that the first time and the second time. And a little bit, even in those episodes, the exact stories that came out, they were pretty off script. Especially in that first episode when I told you about the panic attack I had at the K-State football meetup party, which if you know me, you know that football and Carly are just like polar opposites. So like, what the hell was I even doing at a football meetup? Oh yeah, having an anxiety attack. So telling that story, it triggers my vulnerability hangover. And then I went live and just allowed what was in there energetically inside of me. I allowed it to flow onto that episode of vulnerability hangover. And oh man, yeah, that felt so much better. That felt so good to not have a script and not have a point that I was trying to make, just to say, this is what's energetically inside of me right now. and and allowing whatever that is, whatever that current energy flowing through me, whatever that is, allowing it to be expressed through my spoken word and to find the words for the energy as the energy continues to flow. And sometimes that's why I lose my train of thought, because the flow of the energy, it's going so fast that words can only keep up so well. Um, but yeah, that's what channeling is. And honestly, I personally, this may be unpopular, but I personally believe that we all channel. Like, I don't think it's something special that some people can do and other people can't do. I think, it's about recognizing when you're channeling. And first, I mean, to do that, you really do have to kind of broaden your definition of what is channeling and what does that process actually mean. And for me, I think channeling is when you can sense energy. And I believe we do that through our emotions. When you sense energy and then you turn it into thought. And so I think we're doing that all the time. Um, just as a process, like I think we receive a lot more of our thoughts than we think we do. Like it's too easy to say that this is just the thought that you're thinking, or like when you say I came up with an idea, like if that idea popped into your head out of nowhere, you channeled it. You channeled that idea. And so I mean, I've learned to think about it like that and learn to open myself up to the energy that's there, because I trust that because I'm raising my vibration every day through my self-care, through my morning time, um, because I'm raising my vibration, the energy that's flowing through me is also raising in its frequency. And so now that I have higher frequency energy moving through me, the thoughts and the ideas that are coming, they just get better and better and better and richer and richer and richer. And that's basically how I live my life. I allow the energy. I don't really try to think too hard about anything. I mostly focus on raising my vibration. And when I can feel that the thoughts that are in my head are tense and worrisome or fearful or, whatever, they don't feel good. When I can feel that, I abort mission as soon as possible because I know that it's my vibration that is out of whack, that I've managed to lower my frequency. And that is only a matter of like, what are you focusing on? So if you're focusing on something that doesn't feel good, then of course it lowers your frequency. And now the energy that's moving through you is a lower frequency energy. And so the thoughts that are coming are things like, I'm not good enough, or I can't risk putting myself out there. What if it doesn't work out? What if somebody rejects me? Those are low vibe thoughts. And that is only a reflection of your current frequency. So I realize that, this may or may not make sense depending on how far into energy you've personally felt, is how I'm going to say it. I feel like we don't really learn energy in the classic like textbook sense. It's something that you really have to feel for yourself. And it starts with like, do you ever have a good mood or a bad mood? I mean, chances are that's basically just a reflection of where your frequency is. And, Abraham, she's over there teaching us that we're all creators of our own personal reality. So how does that tie in? Well, our reality is a reflection of our mix of vibrations. And we can tune that mix of vibrations. We can choose to raise our frequency. And that's where we become the deliberate creator, not just the creator where everything is happening at random and we don't understand why is our life turning out this way. But when you tune into your mix of vibrations, your mix of energies that you're holding and carrying around with you on a daily basis, and you start actively raising the frequency of that vibrational mix, your life changes. Your life changes to reflect that. And all of it comes back to energy. So it really does, it pays off to learn how to navigate using your emotions. That's basically what I'm suggesting, is that when you feel good, trust that you're in a high frequency. And when you feel bad, you have some vibrational work to do. You need to feel better. You need to get happy. You need to get back to a high frequency. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, you probably have to stop focusing on what you were focusing on that caused your vibration to dip. So maybe it's, this relationship with my son isn't what I want it to be, or my husband doesn't get me the way that I want him to get me, or my boss doesn't appreciate my work, or maybe I won't be able to pay my rent. Like, there are so many different ways that we can focus that will lower our vibration, because all of those that I just listed as examples are examples of fearful thoughts where we're not trusting the universe. In those thoughts, in those contemplations, we're assuming that we're fending for ourselves, that this person, whoever it is not going to show up for us and is not going to give us what we need. And we're assuming that if they don't give us what we need, then our needs just won't be met. And I think the secret to all of it kind of boils back down into, where does happiness come from? And for me, what I've learned through, a lot of listening to what Abraham has said, but then also feeling through my own mix of vibrations and my own vibrational experience of life, I can tell you it comes back to everything is a reflection of your emotions. So I know that my life is always a reflection of my emotions. Like this morning, somebody pointed out to me, which I absolutely love and am so grateful for. I feel like, I speak my truth on this podcast, and then the universe is able to coach me through whoever is able and willing to channel these ideas from source in the universe on my behalf, and then has the balls to tell me, hey, I listened and I think you could do it better if you worked this around, and oh my goodness, like that's incredible. And I believe that that message, that idea, that thought that Carly could do it better if she told a better, like told a different story, tell a better story about Rita and, like construct this version that feels good when you tell it. And as I'm having this reflected to me, I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness, it's so life is so delicious because it doesn't matter how much you learn. There's always more. There's always more to learn. Always, always, always. I'm using my whispering voice because I'm so excited and I don't want to yell, but there is always more to learn in this life. That's the point of being alive, is that it's limitless. Life in general, how much we can learn, how good we can feel, it's all limitless. None of it is real. All of it is just a reflection of our vibrational mix. So, yeah, that's how I do these episodes. That's what I'm doing right now is I channel. I quiet my thinking mind. I, thank it for its service and ask it to take a fiver, and I allow myself to just be, to open myself up and to allow the energy that is inside of me to express itself. So my practice before I come on here and record is to, do my morning time and do my journaling and do my gratitude and, just gush for a while about how awesome my life is. That's basically how I start my day. And get that energy flowing, tune the frequency to be as positive as I can reach for, in the morning with a couple hours of time, and then go for it. And then channel and see what's there, pull that energy forward and see what it sounds like when it comes out of my mouth. And I can tell you that it feels really good. It feels really, really, really good to just like not worry about what the message is going to be, to not worry about how am I going to explain it so that they'll understand me. That's a big one for me, is that, that was kind of my mantra back in the day, is that nobody understands me. I feel so complex and so in my head and in my own self. Like there's all these different facets to who I am and nobody gets it. And it was like really, really painful. And then I understood, oh my goodness, like it's nobody else's job to get me. It's my job to get me. And that's where I began to understand and learn about self-awareness and how powerful self-awareness really can be. And, I think self-awareness in general, it points us back into ourselves. And what's waiting for you there is all of this rich emotional information that is constantly flowing. And our mood and our emotional reaction to things, it tells us exactly what we need to know. And I can tell you from experience, from what I've learned, is that if it doesn't feel good right now, in the moment that you're thinking about it, it's not going to end well. It's not going to turn out good. So get off that thought, put that project down, put that idea down, and go choose. This is the deliberate creator part. Choose to don't think about that anymore. Choose to pick a subject in this moment right now, not later when this thing resolves itself, when my relationship with my son is better, then I'll feel better. No, that's not being a deliberate creator. That's waiting for the circumstance to change so that you can have a pleasant reaction to it. What I'm suggesting, and this is what Abraham teaches about the deliberate part of being a deliberate creator, is that like trust that your mix of vibrations, your frequency matters. Your frequency is what your entire life is reflecting back to you. So if you're unhappy with the way something has manifested, then you have to raise your frequency to get that manifestation to change. That's the only way, is to raise your personal frequency. That's where self-awareness comes in. So if you're aware that you're focused into a subject that doesn't feel good, then put it down. You don't have to blow it up and throw it away and tell it that I'm never going to talk to you again. No, just put it down. Just walk away from it for just a few minutes and walk towards something that feels good when you think about it. So if that's, when I go outside and feel the sun on my face, the world falls away and I'm able to just feel peace for a second. I'm able to feel my own well-being for just a moment. Or maybe it's I'm going to go get a cup of tea and hold the hot cup in my hand and just like take an exhale. Just, let your cork float for a second and let yourself feel good in as many moments as you possibly can. And over time of like deliberately choosing to spend your time feeling good, your vibrational set point, kind of your average set point, is basically what your life is a reflection of, but you can raise that over time. Like if you're consistently choosing to feel better than your average because you're choosing to, you're making a choice to say, I'm going to sit down right now with my journal for 15 minutes and I'm going to write down things that I'm grateful for. That's a deliberate choice to feel better than your average. And when you consistently choose things that feel better than average, the average, I mean, it's math, it's stats, like the average comes up. So raise your average, like choose things that feel good. And so that's what Abraham teaches. So back in the day, 4.5 years ago, when I very first learned about this, I was of the belief that I don't even have emotions. Like I'm a robot. I don't have emotions. And I was mistaking expressing emotions for having them. And, emotions really have nothing to do with how you express them. The expression of an emotion is just a manifestation. The emotion is the energy that's flowing through us all. And so we all have emotions somewhere inside of us. And again, it's a matter of choice. Like, do you want to listen to it or not? Because like what she's saying, what Abraham is teaching is that, if you feel good in that moment, good things are coming to you. And if you feel bad in that moment, more of the same is coming to you. That's law of attraction. That's how the universe works, is that whatever energy you're holding, it'll give you more of it. So the deliberate choice part of it is to deliberately pick up and carry around really awesome feeling energy. Basically, like live your life from a place of happiness and being in a good mood and watch how it changes. And I'm sure even as you're listening to this, you're realizing that like, oh yeah, like as I let go of some of the things that I used to feel like I had to hold on to, as I let go of those, my life did improve. And what I'm suggesting and what Abraham is teaching is to like deliberately let go of everything that doesn't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, let it go. And that's not to say that I'm never going to come back to this subject. Come back to it from a place of a higher vibration and watch the subject itself change. Approach the relationship with your son or your boss or your husband or whatever. Approach that relationship from a higher vibration place, a higher frequency place, and watch them behave differently towards you. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I've had like experience with this with my brothers, with my parents, with my relationships in general, with like, I used to hold the belief that I can't make friends. And now like I'm kind of maxed out on friends even, which is a brand new problem. I've never had that problem before where like sometimes I feel like I can't even keep up with how many friends I have. Like, again, that is so not how my life used to be. But when you get into a high frequency place, like what you'll find is that there are other people who are already living up there. And while you feel like, well, I don't want to let go of this subject that doesn't feel good because like I need that relationship. I need this job. I need this marriage. I need this relationship with my child. And again, what I'm saying is that once you raise your vibration, you attract, even from that same exact person, you attract something better from them. Dolly and I, my girlfriend and I, were talking about the other day how, like she works with this other lady who has what we both understand to be just a lower frequency set point, and Dolly's frequency set point is higher. And so this third person comes into the office while they're both there, and he's obnoxious, he's rude, he's vulgar. It's just a totally unpleasant experience. And this happened a few times to the point where Dolly, when he would come in, she would just turn around and ignore him and pretend to look busy, which I think is beautiful. Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, deliberately choose to not focus on things that don't feel good. And so that's what she was doing. And so then the other day, her coworker woman is not there. She's in the office by herself, and this guy comes in. He's nothing like that. He's kind and he listens, and they had an intelligent conversation, and they discussed real topics, and they shared ideas, and they laughed, and he left, and it was lovely. And that's exactly how it works. Out of the same dude, two different people are attracting a completely different version of him. We all have the ability to manifest behavior that sometimes we don't even understand that like, why am I acting like this? Well, likely the person across from you is attracting this from you. And so even our own behavior can be erratic. So it helps to understand it like that too. But also imagine if that's your husband and you're attracting behavior from him that you don't like. And if you leave that subject alone long enough, eventually you will attract behavior from him that you do like. It's all always only a reflection of the mix of energy that we are carrying. And as we improve our vibrational mix, our reality improves right along with it. Like, we get to decide, we get to choose. And as you can tell, I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate about managing our emotional energy. It's our greatest asset. It's our greatest resource. It's all the guidance we could ever hope to have. It's our connection with the universe. Our intuition flows forth on these emotions. So again, like, as you raise your frequency, your intuition just grows wider and wider and wider, and that's what channeling is. Like, what I'm doing right now is the ability to hold myself in that place of really high frequency energy where I'm not worried at all about the words flowing forth. I know that translation process from energy to words, that translation of like how going from feeling it to verbally expressing it, that is something that I don't have to think about. I don't have to worry about it. It's like the energy is propelling that action forward. And so when we get our own momentum going in a positive direction, again, it's absolutely limitless. So cool. I think that's a perfect place to leave that for today. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.